Very good afternoon, and there's a huge advantage speaking in the last. Most of the topics have been covered. The audience, interest levels are dipping, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But again, kind of share a few pointers from, especially from the MeIT's perspective, Ministry of Electronics and IT. There are 17 ministries in the central government doing work in the startup space. Of course, three of them are here. I mean, Niti Aayog, DST, and MeIT are kind of course, DPIIT, the champions who are driving the Startup India program. But within the startup ecosystem in the central government, we are MeIT Startup Hub is the startup of startup, right? We are the youngest organization, started in 2019, 2020 to build the entire deep tech and the startup ecosystem in the technology space, especially with the focus of electronics, IT, and deep tech. At MeIT Startup Hub, we've been, it's an evolution, it's a learning for ourselves, like how ISBA has been doing in the last 20 years. We have learned over the last 3 to 5 years that the entire ecosystem is going through a metamorphosis every 2-3 years, and things need to be changed. So with the various programs, our flagship programs include Tide, Genesis, Samrid. The programs that I'm not going to compete with Praveen sir on the number of lakhs of crores he's announced. Okay. Okay. No way, right? But we have a few thousands. Okay. Right. So we see the energy level just went up in the room. Right. Right. So yeah, so we have a few thousand crores to share, but the truth is the schemes are evolving, and but there has been a very strong pivot in MeIT Startup Hub as well. And while we wish to kind of be the custodians of the deep tech and the tech ecosystem, electronics manufacturing ecosystem in the country, a startup ecosystem, we have been very, very fortunate to now look at a very collaborative model, not just among our enabling partners. So in MeIT Startup Hub, we call our incubators as enabling partners. That's first change I kind of try to bring about when we all met in Pravaha. Some of you would have come to Goa when we did our first incubator accelerator conference in February this year. Pravaha, the first version, right? So we refer to you as not as implementing agencies, but our enabling partners. I think that's very, very important for us to understand. So the whole thing about collaboration and building this to ecosystem together is something that we have been very, very, very mindful, and we have now built bridges with other not just government institutions but also private institutions to do this, and that's the first one. So no competition but only collaboration. That's something which is extremely critical. The second aspect is to also look at how do we enable the enablers, which is when we all kind of talk about the Viksit Bharat 2047. And I did mention this in my previous speeches also. You are a very, very key pillar in building the nation. As incubators, accelerators, you contribute to nation building just as important as anybody else, but it's also direct. You build companies, or you help build companies which build employment and create value and contribute directly to the GDP of the country, right? So you have a very, very, very powerful role in nation building. And if we are building nation, and you are the scaffoldings that people stand and build on the startups stand and build the nation, we have to be strong enough for to take that support, to give them the support system. If we are the scaffoldings that the startups stand on and build the companies, we have to be really, really strong to kind of support them. And the best part about scaffoldings, on the day of the Graha Pravesh, or they are actually lying somewhere in the back, and they are ready to go to the next building to be assembled, and another buildings comes up there, right? So that is the true part about incubators. Your companies will come out, they will come big, but we are in the journey of building constantly bigger and better companies. I think that's something which you need to understand as incubator accelerator, how powerful your role is in the contribution of Viksit Bharat 2047. I think that's first. given that kind of responsibility that you shoulder, it is important that we all need to be prepared for it. I think that's something which is very, very important. I love this book. It says, "What got you here will not get you there," right? I think that's something which is very important, because in today's scenario, 2 years, 3 years is not a long time, but it is also a very significant time in terms of ability to impact change, because things and technology are moving so fast that you can make a difference if you are ready with and capability. So it's important to us to be, if you are talking about building deep tech companies, how good are we in our own capabilities of deep tech, and the ability to drive and mentor and nurture deep tech companies is something that we need to constantly equip ourselves and learn and relearn and things, which is very, very important. So that's the second point I would like to share. The third point, which fortunately the previous speakers didn't cover, I would like to bring to the attention of this audience, because you guys are very, very important. It's the whole compliance and the governance part, which is very, very critical, because I always say, compliance and governance starts from the day one, and as incubators and accelerators, it's our responsibility to kind of keep the the compliance and the governance compass of the startup sensitive and aware from beginning itself, and it's not that something that they will do after they become something, right? It is not that they will. It happens in real life. In future, we are all very good people. What is your resolution for 2026 January? Right? In future, from January 1st, I will go for a jog. How many of you? Gymming, right? From January 1st, 2026, I will eat healthy. So in future, we are all very good people. It matters what happens today. So to my mind, it's a very important topic. Of course, I'll be sharing some more details. It's important to understand that as incubators and accelerators, governance and compliance is something really, really critical. And that becomes a very important for the kind of startups. We have 180,000 startups. In fact, we can't put a number to it. We just keep oscillating between 170,000 to 190,000. But the truth is, we have built the width. If now it's time to build depth. And fundamentally strong companies need to be built, and that means not just from a business perspective, it is also important from an organization building or an institution building. Compliance and governance becomes a very important topic for accelerators and incubators to focus upon. And of course, the most important part is also to kind of, as my fellow speakers spoke about, it's the ability of the it is becoming an era of more and more specialization. Deep tech, med tech, every possible technology. It is becoming so. Generalist roles are becoming more and more less significant, I would say. So it's important to identify what is your core area, what is your niche that you are in terms of technology, and focus on those technology capabilities, that you become a magnet for startups in that domain, and startups gravitate towards you for that particular, and that would happen only if you are able to deliver value to these startups in that particular domain. And I think there is a lot of good examples and a lot of good incubators and accelerators across the country who are focusing on one thing, and they are really doing a wonderful job. I'm sure many are in this room as well. And last but not the least, it's important to also understand that the collaboration, because multiple times it is the ability to one incubator. Sometimes we see as METI, we have a bird's eye view of what is happening in the ecosystem. We work with about 150 plus incubators and accelerators. Sometimes incubators, very rarely they talk among themselves and kind of get. And I think ISBA as a platform, bringing all of you together and continue to become a very strong peer-to-peer information and knowledge exchange platform is something that we really look at. And one more thing that I would like to add is the ability of incubators, especially in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. I think it's a huge challenge. At MeitY, we are we have 3 focus areas: tech and electronics, manufacturing and design, and deep tech. That's the first pillar. Second pillar is tier 2 and tier 3 city, innovation and capability building, capacity building. And last but not the least, the third one is inclusive technology. But the second pillar cannot be even, there's no way we can work with tier 2 and tier 3 cities, be it us at MeitY or DST or NITI, without the support and the partnership of the tier 2, tier 3 incubators and accelerators. I think becoming a very, very important piece. Our ecosystem cannot revolve around the Bangalores and Hyderabad and the Gurgaons of the world. We now need to go to a Warangal. We now need to go to a Trichy. We need to move to a Aurangabad. We need to go to a Lucknow or a Kanpur. That is very, very critical, and that is a huge responsibility for the matured incubators and accelerators here to kind of nurture the other upcoming ones, and that's something that we at MeitY Startup Hub are willing to facilitate. We are focused on that. Our programs are focused on that, and we wish to drive this whole thing together with you. These are the thoughts that I thought I would share with you, and we have the whole day to kind of engage. And from a government perspective, or from MeitY's perspective, we are very clear. We are here to facilitate, support, and be a partner in this nation building activity of incubation and acceleration. You are building India through building companies. If that is the focus, we are here to support you. But at the same time, it's a mutual support. You support us with what we want in terms of data, in terms of information, in terms of the capability, the success in our startups, and we support you with the lakhs of crores that are announced, right? So it is important for us to work together. And on that note, we look forward for more and more engagements. And MeitY Startup Hub, we are always with you to enable and travel this journey together. Thank you so much.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.